Today, in our intro video, we are going to be talking about slope. So the first question is, what is the definition for slope? Well, slope is used to describe the steepness of a line. Another word that sometimes you can see for slope is if they say average rate of change. So once again, if somebody says, tell me the average rate of change, they just really mean, tell me the slope. The next category is going to have us talk about the different types of slope. Okay, there are 4 types. The first one is if you have a positive slope. So if you're looking at a picture of a graph, a positive slope from left to right would be going upwards. The second type is called negative slope. And negative slope means from left to right, the line is going downwards. Third type is one that has a slope of 0. To have a slope of 0, you don't have a diagonal line anymore. This time you have a horizontal line. For a horizontal line, you'll notice that your slope is 0. The fourth one is undefined. Okay, or you can use a little symbol for undefined, which is the same symbol for no solution, a 0 with a slash through it. And this time, instead of being a horizontal line, it will be a vertical line. Now, how do we calculate slope? If we're talking about on a graph, the first thing you want to do is draw a triangle between 2 points that are on the line. Then once you've done that, maybe some of you remember hearing slope as rise over run. And rise is the spaces that go up or down. So you count the spaces. If you go up, then you're going to call your slope positive. And if you go down, you're going to call that top number a negative. Now the run is the spaces that go left or right. If you're counting leftwards, you're going to call it a negative number. And if you're counting right, you're going to call it a positive number. Now, what if you want to use the slope formula? So if you're given 2 points and you can't count on the graph, then this is how you can calculate slope. So remember, ordered pairs are x number first, y number second. And the first ordered pair, I'm going to call that x1 and y1 just because it's my first one. The second ordered pair, I'm going to call that x2 and y2 because it's my second one. Now, what letter do we use for slope? That is the letter M. So if you ever see the letter M, that's referring to slope. So m equals our formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So now let's work some examples out. On the first four, I'm going to give you the picture, and your job is to find the slope. So draw a triangle between the two dots that are provided for you. Or if there's not any dots provided for you, then you just make sure you pick 2 points. They just have to be on the line. Make them nice corner points. Don't try to do any half points or anything like that. So now let's count our spaces. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And since we're going up, that's going to make it a positive 5. And then count to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And since it's to the right, it's positive. And remember, rise over run. So our rise number is 5 and our run number is 6. On the second one, I'm going to draw a triangle between my points. Count my spaces. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. And since I'm going down, I'm going to make that a negative 4. Count right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And because it's right, it's going to be positive. And then rise is negative 4 over run, which is 8. And then we always check to make sure our fraction reduces. This fraction will reduce, so please make sure you reduce it down. So we get the answer to be negative 1/2. Third one. Okay, if I look at this point, there's no way I could draw a triangle between the 2 points. All I can do is draw a straight line. So does everyone agree there is no rising up or down? I'm just going left or right to a dot. So that means my rise number is 0. And then my run number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But 0 over any number. What do we know about 0 over any number? That answer is 0. So the next one. This time I can rise, so I can go up and down. So I'm going to count the spaces. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going down, so that's negative. But I can't go left or right. There is no left or right movement, so this time the 0's on the bottom. And if you pick up your calculator and you take any number and you divide it by 0, your calculator is going to say error. It's going to say not possible. So that means this one has an undefined slope. So remember, horizontal lines have a slope of 0 and vertical lines have an undefined slope. So now the last examples, this one I want you to actually use our formula. So on the first one, 4 is going to be considered x1, 3 is y1, 6 is x2, and 7 is y2. So now let's just plug it in our formula. y2, which is 7, minus y1, which is 3, over x2, which is 6, minus x1, which is 4. 7 minus 3 is 4, and 6 minus 4 is 2. And if I reduce my fraction, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So final answer is 2. So the middle one, x1, y1, x2, y2. So now plug it into your formula. y2 is 0, minus y1, which is 5, over x2, which is 2, minus x1, which is negative 2. On the top, 0 minus 5 is negative 5. But on the bottom, what happens with minus a negative? Well, minus a negative is just like saying a negative times a negative. So you should switch that to a positive. So it should be 2 plus 2 on the bottom. So therefore, your final answer would be negative 5 over 4. C, x1, y1, x2, y2. Plug it in your formula. So 7 minus 7 over negative 2 minus 4. 7 minus 7 is 0. Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. And 0 divided by negative 6. That should give you the answer of 0. Now, 0 is a unique answer. And how could I tell by just looking at this problem that my answer would be 0? Do you guys notice that in the ordered pairs, what's the same? Does everybody see each ordered pair has a number 7? And that 7 is located in the y spot on each one. So anytime your y number is identical in each ordered pair, your slope will always be 0. Last one. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Plug it in. So 10 minus negative 1 over 5 minus 5. Once again, minus a negative is going to switch to a positive. So 10 plus 1 is 11. On the bottom, 5 minus 5 is 0. This time, what happens if you take a number divided by 0? If you do that, your calculator should tell you error, so undefined. And once again, undefined is a special case. So how do I know by just looking at it that's a special case? Does everybody notice the y numbers are not the same this time? What's the same is the x number. So if the x number in both ordered pairs is identical, then your slope will always be undefined. And that's it. Thanks for viewing.